At the early hours of Tuesday, May 21st, police raided the peaceful encampment at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. But before the police raided the camp, students were living together in unity, camaraderie, and resolve for the sake of Gaza for over a whole month. This is their story.
The university has been pushing back against people speaking out for Palestine. There have been, they tried to draft a policy where they basically said if you cause disruptions, we can expel you, suspend you, revoke your degree, that type of stuff. So there's definitely a risk in terms of being here. A lot of our students here are unmasked. The risk of being doxxed, the risk of not getting jobs. We're putting our futures on the line.
Specifically, we want to talk to them about full divestment. That means removing any funds that are invested in any companies that are Israeli or fund the Israeli war machine, and then also full disclosure about the endowment. We have done a lot of research to understand exactly what the endowment is invested in, but it's shrouded in a lot of secrecy, and it's completely opaque. And we think that, as students of the university, as people in this community, we should be able to know what the university is investing in and how they're choosing to spend this money. And then we also want them to commit to not pressing any charges against us and dropping all existing charges against student protesters, because no student should face such repression for fighting against a genocide and fighting for liberation of Palestine.
TMJ News is here in Ann Arbor, where the students at the University of Michigan have set up an encampment for the people of Gaza.
I was tuned in on October 7th when it all started, and I was hopeful that there'd be some sort of break in the sort of stagnation that the occupation had reached. But I've been watching videos of babies getting massacred and people holding their loved ones and dying. Pictures of people coming out of mass graves, and it's been absolutely horrific and terrifying, and it's affected me very deeply and viscerally and terrifying, because I know if the university and my government support that abroad, it will eventually come back home here in some way.
We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what could come next. We've seen what's happening on other campuses across this country, and there's tension in the air. It's definitely a stressful time, but at the same time, we have our unity. We're united, and I think our strength comes from that in our numbers. And if we're here demanding divestment, I don't see how the regents and the Board of Education can ignore us.
The endowment is invested, and they choose to invest it in portfolios that are supposedly high risk and high value. So that means that the returns are high. So the thing is that when the returns are high, they get richer and they get more powerful. But in doing so, they've chosen to to invest the endowment in war and genocide because that's more profitable. And in doing that, they have they're explicitly funding genocide. We've seen $6 billion that are implicated in the genocide and occupation, which is an insane amount of money. That's a lot of money.
The scene here is very peaceful and very calm. The students have informed me that the encampment actually grew in size and number. From the left side, it's grown to the right side. And all across the United States, more than 120 campuses are participating in the student-led intifada in solidarity with Palestine.
Life's become simpler in a way. Before, when you're at home, you worry about a bunch of different things: food, getting to class on time. Taking all that away, just being in the encampment, it's simple. We stay here, we support wherever we can. If they have a teaching, you go listen. The organizers have done an amazing job serving food, making sure things are available to us, and it's just a nice little community. People are in the tents, we're all here for the same thing. I'm meeting a bunch of new people, figuring out all the different facets of people who are united for this cause, and it's been an amazing experience overall.
To give them idea about how we much supporting them, so we thought about giving them homemade food, fresh meals.
And what did you make today?
المقلوبة. It's a victory dish.
Food's been remarkable. Some of the best food I've ever had. A lot of Middle Eastern people are coming out, and it's my favorite kind of food. It's disrupted certain parts of my schedule, but I say it's all worth it if it can make a small change.
I just feel like we're raising more awareness. It has been going on for over 6 months, and now that people are actually it's continuing, like it hasn't slowed down. There's still so many protests going on. There's still so many ways you can show your support. So many websites you can donate to, and it's on the news every day. I just think people need to still stand up, and their voice is making a difference.
I, as a person of moral conscience, think that anyone should be doing anything they possibly can to stop the genocide and stop the occupation and help liberate Palestine. It's just like what's right. I don't see how anyone could think anything else.
More than 34,000 people have been killed in occupied Palestine by the Zionist entity, and this is what's really been fueling the strength of this encampment.
People are dying, people are being genocided, kids, babies, women are dying, and there's no reason for it. And as a human being, I think at some point you have to stand up for what's right. You can't just sit down and, let things happen. You do everything in your power. And, as a student, you only have limited power. I can't go and just stop the bombings from happening in Gaza. I can't stop the people dying. But this is something I can do. Just being here, showing support, and demanding divestment.
The biggest thing that gives me hope in this time is that, before October 7th, it was unquestionable that, Israel was our ally. We support them always in whatever we do. And only through the recent action of resistance that's happened in Gaza, that there's been a breaking in the status quo. And finally, the mass of people are seeing what Israel truly is, and they're seeing the genocidal monster for what it is. And, people are, for the first time in American history, really waking up and really seeing that we can't support this monster in the Middle East anymore.
Gaza will rebuild, and Palestine will be free. It's just a fact. Like, there's no way that that's not going to happen, and that I want every one of them to have as beautiful life as possible, because they deserve that.
Yeah. Right now, you got my sleeping bag here, and my roommate, who's one of the organizers, lives on the other side. It's a little messy. Sorry, I wasn't expecting guests. And for the most part, I've just been living out of my small backpack in the corner here. It gets pretty cold at night, pretty hot during the day, but all in all, it's, I feel lucky to have any kind of shelter, because there have been, Palestinians who have been bulldozed in their tents. So I'm very grateful for it.